What's bringing me to Harvard Heat Week is the necessity of convincing Harvard and many other institutions to divest from their holdings in fossil fuels. We have to keep 80% of what's left in the ground, or we're going to find ourselves with a totally uninhabitable planet. The planet will go on. Life will go on. It's just going to do it without us.
And so how does financial planning fit into divestment and reinvestment and fossil fuel economies?
Talking to people, talking to endowments, you have to plan for the future, you have to protect yourself, you have to assure that the financial return on what you're setting aside will be adequate. Now, that really is not incompatible with divestment, because the necessity of keeping those reserves in the ground means that the values of the companies that are claiming them as assets will plummet if they can't retrieve those assets. And currently, with the fall in the price of oil and other fossil fuels have become certainly not as profitable as they had been anyway. And a number of studies, there was a recent article in the Guardian newspaper showing that over the last 5 years, I believe it was, the S&P with fossil fuel exclusion produced 1.2% more than the S&P with fossil fuel exposure. So there's evidence that not only do you not harm your return by excluding fossil fuels, there's actually a benefit. Now there's an additional step I like to add to that as a financial advisor, and that is to point to an index called the Domini 400. The Domini 400 is a shadow index of the S&P 500, which applies environmental, social, and governance screens to the S&P 500, excluding companies that violate the standards in those screens. The Domini 400 has tracked the S&P 500 for the last 20 years very, very closely. Its tracking error often being positive, but inconsistent. So what I'm saying is, if divest from fossil fuels, reinvest in socially, environmentally, and governance screened investments, you will come out at least the same and exclude the risk of the loss of value of the assets that must remain.